YouTube, happy Monday. Yeah. Oh God, not because of the bucky, but I had a terrible time last night. My God, I had a kebab and I just like before the live stream, and it just wouldn't go away. I just all I could smell and taste if I didn't get to sleep all night. It was just pure, blah, horrible. Anyway, not the bucky. It was definitely the kebab. Yeah. So doing a quick video of this before it gets picked up. It would have been a longer one, but I'm only just up. So this is a Washburn G2-V from 1987. Pretty much looks all original apart from someone's painted the scratch plate purple. I think it is the original scratch plate though, although I'm not sure. Someone might have made it. There was an era when these things, that the Ibanez Roadster's really bad for that. See when they go brittle, the scratch plates actually. No, it doesn't. I was going to say, if it's got, it happens more often when you've got the output jack on the actual scratch plate because, you know, someone stands on it or it gets pulled and it actually just splits the scratch plate. You see it happen quite a lot in P basses, but on guitars of a late 80s era, it seems to be quite a common thing. So I've had a few Washburn G series. This is the 2. I've never had this one before. This one's got a wonderbar on it, a wonderbar. So we've got like what's basically a surface mount caller. The big thing about these, well, they don't see them a bit anymore, so they didn't. It was, I remember the advert. Not from the time because I wasn't born yet or I wasn't old enough to read a magazine, but the advert was something like, "Look out, Mr. Caller and Mr. Rose. There's a new guy in town," or whatever it was. Because the thing this does is, you can take, say, like a Telecaster, any flat top guitar, and you just put it on, stick for 4 screws in it, done. No routing, digging out stuff, moving stuff. It's flat mount, and the entire bridge sits on top of the guitar. That's why it's a little bit chunky looking. Sometimes it looks pure hideous. On this guitar it kind of works somewhere though. I love its engineering aspect. I've actually done a video on it before. I put one on a BC Rich Wave. It's also got they don't have the Floyd Rose license, so you've got like a separate clampy thing which is really fidgety, and then a normal nut. It's not really so bad for the the clampy thing. It kind of works, but it's not rattling. But I've not tightened it up. I will tighten it up before give it back. I've not stretched the strings in yet. So it's quite annoying. See, on a Floyd Rose, you've got like this is what the Floyd Rose license is for. So what you have is the string goes over the nut, which is built in, and then you get like a wee bit of metal with a bolt that clamps it down from the top. That's a much easier system to use than this one, which is, so you can see the clamps are the screws are on the top, but actually what it's doing, instead of like, you know, having a thing then you stick a bolt through it, the thing that it goes into is in below the bridge, so you're actually putting the bolt through the case or whatever you call it and pulling the thing up from the bottom. So it is clamping, but it's clamping from the underside, which means that you've got to put the string through while it's fidgety, and it's not as good a system. But and the worst thing about that was I had to adjust the truss rod. So alright, here's the truss rod. Not there. Oh, it's there. So basically, all the strings off, 4 screws taken off this thing, slide this thing out the way, take off the G2-V plate thing, then adjust the truss rod. I assume you're going to get it right first go, which I did. It's pretty good. I was just because I've done it so many times. Assume you get it right go, put it back on again, 4 screws, put the thing back on again, tune it back up again, see if it worked. I did. Enough complaining about it. Yeah, the other thing about the Force. This is, the G series were originally still called the Force series, this, and you can sort of see if you compare it to, this is an earlier Force one of, I don't know, 1983, so one of the first ones. You can see it's the same shape, which is kind of mad because the reason this guitar is this shape, and you notice I've got the bass version there as well, is it's a different neck join. See where the neck joins, it doesn't have like a heel. The neck join is actually bolted on in here. You know, so it's like the neck is actually this much longer. Well, the neck isn't. It's got an extra bit glued onto it. But it's like that's kind of the idea there. So you get this scoop thing on the back, and it's the same with the bass. That idea, which hasn't really taken off. I can't really think of any guitars that do that, but this one, even though a bit later, has a normal style bolt-on neck. Makes very little difference to when you play. Well, maybe it is actually after just playing that one. So we've got HSS layout. It's supposed to start at the neck pickup. It's got got a really fast neck on it, painted neck as well. The neck's the best bit. Well, these vary in quality. The ones I have had, the GCs, I had a couple of G1s, and one of them was 87 and one of them was 88. And the 87 one was a lot better than the 88 one. All the hardware was much better. I think maybe the 87 is the first year they did them in Korea rather than Japan, and then they're pretty good. Can you make them cheaper next year? I think happened. Because this one has the Washburn branded tuners that's got a wonderbar, so it's just slightly better. I think. There's your wibbly wobbly. Wonderbar is basically a caller. I don't really like callers. It's a bit like a Bigsby. You know, because the string leaves the saddle here, but you're bending it from here, so there's a sort of, if you've ever played a Jazzmaster, or a Bigsby, or a caller, it's got that, like you're operating a lever on a pulley system, whereas a Floyd Rose, it's that you're actually attached to the same pivot point as the saddles, so it seems very direct, whereas this seems a bit like you're doing something geared. You know, so instead of just pushing a button, you're pushing it with a stick. It's kind of got that sort of feel to it, which some folk absolutely love. These things are, as I said to the guy, it's probably kind of worth more on its own than it is in the guitar. You know, I like it for its steampunk look. Just before. Middle pickup, never use that. Position 2, I wonder if it's got automatic coil splitting. I doubt it. I don't think automatic coil splitting existed at this point. No, I didn't think it would. So here you've got the humbucker and the middle pickup, which isn't necessarily a not as good sound as if it's split. It's just it's not quite the Strat position 2 sound which you tend to get on some guitars have got automatic coil split. I was going to say on my Red Star, but it doesn't. It's got a switch to do it. I think it doesn't have. No, I've been inside it. Doesn't have a coil split. I've noticed. Push pull pop. And then humbucker in the bridge. To me, that's been the pickup's quite low, and I think that is because it's quite low. I was going to say so it's not. It doesn't get quieter when you go to the other pickups. But I'm just going to raise it up a bit and get a bit more rock out of it. You kind of expect the humbucker to be slightly on the higher side, but that's because you're turning to it and stomping on the distortion to get some proper rock on the go. You know. If it only moved that up about 3-4 millimeters, suddenly you've got a rock machine. Rat pedal. It's purely something you get used to, but then it's me there doing the thing. If that was a Floyd Rose or a Strat Trem, that would have been pure. That would have been down 4 notes. On this, it's kind of like a. That's it maxed out. But it's just a case of getting used to it, I think. Yeah, so it's pretty good. I think one of these might be coming up the running into now their best sort of value quality guitars you can kind of get. The Washburn G series. I don't really know that much about them. I think I get put off a little bit by that second one I had, the one that wasn't quite as good. I wonder if the consistency's maybe not there. So this would be a Samick built guitar, I assume. Possibly a Cort. Samick, I think. As I said, the Wonderbar itself's worth a couple £100 straight up, and it's kind of, I think that's what the guy paid for the guitar with it. So it's like one of those things. If you really like the Wonderbar and you own this, it's like he's kind of in a bit of a conduit to do with it as well. Do you sell the Wonderbar, get £200, and then just buy like a Strat hardtail bridge, stick it on, and you've still got an awesome guitar without a tremolo? I don't know. It's quite good because it's got a really fast neck on it. It doesn't necessarily look that much like a shredder. Not as much as like an Ibanez RG does. Mind you, I wouldn't have said that looked like a shredder really either. It's got a pointy head, but it doesn't have the pointy sides. It's a bit more classy looking. I do actually really like the shape of this, maybe because I'm used to looking at my bass and my white one. I don't know, I kind of like it. It's like it's slightly bigger scoops than a Strat, a little bit more evil. This has actually got the Strat type. I saw it there in the reflection. Where's the reflection? There. So you've got this contour on it, which the original ones don't have. That one doesn't have that. This one's, it's one of the things you always notice. It kind of makes it feel a bit like a Telecaster, because this is just boom, 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 boom. Got a maple neck on it as well. But yeah. So for being I suppose it's got to be a cheaper version than the previous one, because this has got this. I know it's things like talking about the truss rod. This has that glorious bullet truss rod, which is really easy to adjust. You can see where to put the Allen key. This one, you have to take the strings off. You have to take off this bolt. You have to take off the wee plastic bit. You have to go in, adjust it, put it all back together, tune it up, see if you adjusted it right. If not, take it off the bit. Which doesn't, to me, okay, fair enough. You shouldn't really have to adjust your truss rod all the time, but there is a possibility. See, even if you're touring or something like that, especially probably not so much here, but say in America or something, you're going from like freezy Baltic state, I don't know, New York or something, and then it's like you're going to, I don't know, Arizona or something, somewhere hot and roasty. The guitar's probably going to move, so you're probably going to take it off the bus or off the plane, pick it up and go, oh my god, the neck's like this or the neck's like this, I can't play this. Get the Allen key out and adjust it for this climate, but that's when you need screwdrivers and you're going to look. So not quite as good a system, I don't think, but it was necessary to get the clamps on, so you had the double locking. I need to try. I wonder. I assume they're going to work. I've not been going mental with it just now, but it's managed to hold tune. It doesn't make a noise when you've turned the amp off, though. But there, I'll let it off for that. It's well. How did is it ergonomic? It's got a thing going for it where it's like, see, it's like, oh, here we go. It feels very secure. Maybe it's something to do with when you're looking down the pointy headstock or something. It feels planted and very solidly attached to you. Like I'm talking design, ergonomic wise. It feels really ready for action. Totally. It's like, I don't know. Maybe just the way it sits. It sits in a I'm gonna rock type thing, much more so than most other guitars, to be honest. I suppose this is still in the era before internet and all that. Well, obviously long before the internet, but when people would go into a guitar shop and try the guitars and buy the one they thought they liked best. Long gone. That's why companies like Washburn, they're not that big anymore. I think they're still going. I think they're still making acoustics. I think they're still making guitars, but they're not a huge guitar thing, because people don't go into guitar shops and play and buy the best guitar. People look on the internet and buy the one they like the look of. So you're spending £200-300 on a guitar. I suppose you could look up reviews. That might tell you. It doesn't tell you whether you like it or not. I've got plenty of guitars that I look at me and Scott's guitars. With my pal Scott and looking at his guitars. He's got a few guitars I don't really like. Still like them, they're still guitars, and I've got a few guitars he doesn't really like. Sometimes it's just not for you. I'm not talking about, obviously neither of us like guitars that just buzz, don't work, all that, but I'm talking about ones that work. You get ones that you just go, yeah, it just sits right. And sometimes it kind of, you know, if it sits a bit low or maybe you're a bit fat like me or something, it doesn't gel with you. Quite a lot of the time it's just the colour. You know, it's like I would show me a guitar that's neon green and I'm like, whoa, regardless of what kind of guitar it is. So from the era of when a guitar would sell on the quality of its build and how it felt, rather than what its spec sheet and what it looked like and what the name is on the headstock. Hello, Harley Benton. Look at that spec sheet. Oh, that looks just like a 1965 Fender Jaguar. Oh, that's wonderful. It's only 300. Oh, wow, that's great. Is it? Might be. I just think the last few I've had have been pure terrible and basically a false economy. It's like kind of, oh, any. I'm obviously not the people on the internet who are giving them free, because the ones they're giving are not the ones that you get if you just bought one yourself and filming. You know, oh, we're giving it free to this internet channel who will probably help us sell thousands of these. Let's make sure, let's have a look through them. You know, they get half a dozen out and go, right, this one's the nicest one, right? And then they spend an hour fixing it to make it play as good as they can. So when the person, assuming they're totally genuine, gets in and goes, yeah, I can't believe this Harley Benton's only $150. Look, oh, it's pure in tune and everything. It's great. Wow. And it's like, is it? Or is that a very specific one? It's a random chance thing, isn't it? Maybe some of them just happen to come out. You know, if you've got a dartboard there and you're throwing darts into it like that, you're going to hit the board most of the time. Sometimes, but one or two times you might hit the bullseye. You know, when you're not looking, just throwing darts. So therefore, it's possible to get a pure belter of a Harley Benton, because all the things that go up together, the guy who put the bridge on that day put it on straight. All these things, you know, the frets didn't need finishing, because when they hammered the frets in, it's possible that they all just went straight in, perfect. Didn't need any leveling or any clouding. That's possible. 1 in 1,000 chance. Possible though. Whereas the other 999, it needs frets done. I seem to be enough. Someone, Harley Benton, send me a guitar and prove me wrong. Do it. And if you do it, I will totally back down. I'm not like a religious person. I will, if I will change my mind. Given more information, I will change my mind. To be honest, I've kind of changed my mind about this. I wouldn't have bought it. Now I would. I don't really like the wonderbar, but let's just assume the wonderbar's part of it. I do understand why people want a wonderbar. I had to buy one to see if I liked it or not. I don't. So if I had this, I would probably sell the wonderbar. But it's like, I'm actually really liking the guitar. It feels dead slinky and good. I wouldn't swap it for my white one though, but that's because the white one's got an opaque finish. I'm not a big fan of black guitars, and to be honest, although it doesn't look brilliant up close, the sort of purple scratch plate, I think it's probably better, and the chances are it might have been white in below this, and if it was white, you're going to get that Eric Clapton black and white Strat looky thing, which is not something that appeals to me. It's a really nice neck. Sort of not, it's a shredder neck. I'm going for assuming it's Strat scale. I mean, it is. But the last time I assumed something was the scale that I assumed it was the airline base. So that's definitely 34 inch, measured it was 30. It's a Strat scale, 25.5 inch. Okay, I knew that. It's a super Strat. I'm actually watching Music is Fun. There, check out his channel. Actually, it looks a really nice cork, so I was kind of watching that. The guy's coming to pick up this guitar, so I've got to do a video just now. What do you call it? A Cork Do630 HSS Stratocaster Super Strat Power Strat. Power Strat is not a term I've heard before, which I may be using in the future. Yeah, Power Strat, Super Strat. Rock on, and I'll be less hungover from kebab tomorrow night. Honest. Here we go. A Blackbird for tomorrow night. Rock on. Just like and subscribe, etc.